talking to Fred Glick and René Pérez. Fred's hawking his Once Upon a Coconut Water. We're on We Fixed Real Estate, and today we have a real special episode. We're doing a deep dive in the buyer-broker relationship, the fees, and the August 17th deadline, giving you all the data you need to know to be armed for success come the end of August.
The NAR settlement.
NAR, and not NAR with GNAR.
Yes,
not
correct.
NAR like gnarly. This is NAR, National Association of Realtors.
Let's just start with the superficial, quick rundown of the history, and you can Google the crap out of this. But
You got
basically
everything.
No. I have something special here.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the realtors over the years had kind of this formula. And the formula was that a seller or a seller broker, one way, shape, or form, will pay a buyer broker to entice them to come and bring their client to their house. Now, this started, before the internet. So you got to book once a week when you were an agent, and there's no way to figure out what was for sale until the Sunday paper, and they had Sunday open houses, and that was it. So information was kept very tight, so they could do whatever they wanted to do. So it just got along with the internet, and, they didn't adapt, and they kept telling people who were buyers, hey, the seller pays your fee. You don't have to pay me anything. Don't worry about it. It was great while it lasted, until this lawsuit that was class action got settled for. The judgment was $1.8 billion for everybody. So blah, blah, blah. They all came with an agreement. And one of the things that they agreed on is that everybody in America, if you want to hire an agent, it's got to be in writing. Just like the real estate contract. Going to buy a house, it's got to be in writing. So in writing, you're going to specify things. And I hold in my hand, I print out very few things. I hate printed documents. When I printed this out, this is hot off the presses of the new buyer broker contract in California. And I haven't even had a chance to just super dive into it, but it's the fill in the blanks. And, the representation period is 90 days. That's the longest you can go. It can be exclusive or non-exclusive. But remember, that's really big. Exclusive means you're married to that agent for that time period. You are married. There's no way out. Non-exclusive, which we are, means, hey, if we don't get along, we go out on a first date. You like it, we have a second date. It's that simple, to put it into just simplicity of what exclusive and non-exclusive is. So that's going to be part of this. So I haven't had a chance to read through it, as I said, but you should read through it, especially the fill in the blank stuff. But they start asking some really weird things I did see. And one of them was buyer financial information. I'd never gotten into this before. So line 1, G1 on this is time to deliver buyer personal financial information. It says within 5 or X calendar days from the execution of this agreement. And there's a CAR form BFPI attached. I went looking for that form. I didn't see it, but it's probably buyer's financial plan, something. I don't know. They want to know about your finances. You know what? I don't want to know about your finances. I'm going to ask you to sign to say that you are going to get approved by a mortgage company for a mortgage because, frankly, you're fully approved as best as you can. Mm-hmm. Because, quite frankly, we just don't work with people who don't do that.
Let me give you a little more context there on the finances. Let's say that you're looking for an agent and you walk through an open house. A lot of agents, they want to build rapport with you and ask, what do you do for work and where you are and if you're in the neighborhood. Just try to maintain those questions as vague as possible. I know that it's hard because there's agents that are smiley and they're trying to be friends with you because that is a part of the game, right? People want to know exactly what you do and how can I have some leverage over you? Like, oh, does this person live in the same street and they really want to live in that street. Okay, well, since I know that, let me just make them overbid for a property, right? So whenever you're signing all this, remember that you might not end up working with that person long term. So you shouldn't share everything. Just like Fred said, it's more like dating, right? Like you wouldn't tell a partner who you've been dating for a week your entire life story, or I won't tell people how to live their life, but you probably shouldn't tell your entire life story the first week that you were dating.
On the first date, no.
Pretty much, kind of the same thing. And then there's the second line, which I find interesting. Other financial conditions, they call it. The first thing they want you to check off or not check off: buyer does not have sufficient funds to pay broker. Really? That's not your problem.
Wait, so they're going to check off buyer does not have sufficient funds?
Yeah. And the second one is buyer intends to purchase with the following loan product, which does not allow buyer to pay compensation to broker. And guess what? That's everybody. None of the lenders allow you to do that.
Well, actually, I don't know if that's 100% accurate because some lenders.
No. All they do is verify that you have the funds, period. That's it.
Yeah, but
it's a closing cost.
Yeah, but in terms of being able to use, I guess what I'm talking about is like the grants. Like if you get any.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's things that they are allowing you to use it for buyer broker fees.
Yeah, but the point is that all lenders, know what they're doing with this. I mean, they're prepared for that.
I don't get the nuance there. Explain. So why would you check that the buyer doesn't have the funds to pay the buyer's agent? Is that to show that the seller must do that? Or
that's what they're trying to prevent.
There's no like options. It's not like a multiple choice checkbox.
No, you either check it or you don't.
And if you check it, then why would the buyer agent even work with you? Maybe I'm not understanding it.
Because then what they do, they get back all this data. If they're smart, this is what they do. Because we're not realtors, so we weren't allowed to go to their seminar, even though we leased their documents. We weren't allowed to go and get their expertise in this by attending seminars beforehand. But that's okay. This is more fun. I can't wait to put this thing in Claude.
Yeah, you really need to. AI go with
the old wait
and the new one, and
can't wait and have it full consumer. But anyway, what were we talking about? We're just going crazy with this thing. So you don't have the funds. The lenders are going to be fine with it, because unless it's part of a closing cost, at which they're going to have to disclose. So you know what? In order to get your approval, you have to have that amount.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they're trying to do, that's what I was going with, I'm sorry, is they're going to try to show with data that look at all these people who couldn't buy a house because you're forcing them to pay their buyer broker. If they're smart, that's what they would do. Just to prove their point.
Yeah, Fred's being a little conspiracy theorist right now.
Totally. If I was them, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But they won't. But I'm sure there's some ridiculous legal reason that they won't.
And sometimes the simplest answer is the real answer. So I think it just boils down to this idea that if you write that down, then the seller is going to be nice and understand that, that the buyers need the sellers to provide the buyers compensate, and that's it. I don't think they're smart enough to think that far ahead because absolutely makes sense. There's a lot of people and even in our buyers who actually like when the first lawsuit settlements were announced, but they said, people who have the least money, they always get hurt the most, and for those buyers that did not register that they've always been harmed. Bad as an entity, and it's always been against the consumer. So it has not ever been a consumer friendly market. So this doesn't change any of that. It's still not a market. It's still the real estate industry is still not accessible to the to the lowest financially equipped individuals, right? There's still this, that's why there's people can't afford homes, right? That does not have to do with the settlement at all. That's a separate story.
Yeah, it's simple economics. Now it's like you're going to have less order takers. It's really what it's amounting to. That's really it. But one thing I can tell you, and I'm telling this to René right first time he's hearing it, when we have our interviews with people on our Google Meets to begin our relationship, we talk about everything. And from now on, we're going to talk about this document with them and fill it in with them so we can send out the DocuSign. Because it's gotten that crazy, but it's good. It's good. It's, basically this is getting near where we are, but not fully there. But, they have a place for a flat fee. They don't have an hourly fee box.
Now, is there a checkbox like exclusive, non-exclusive? How does a agent make it?
Yeah, this is non-exclusive contract, but you can check that it's exclusive.
Okay.
So
write down like 1 hour instead of 90 days.
Exactly. They also talk about the types of properties, the location of properties. They wanted to get as close as counties and cities. It's ridiculous. We do all over the state. So
you could be the exclusive buyer's agent for San Marino, but if you have a house in San Francisco, then they're okay.
Exactly. You can sign with different agents in different parts of the state if you wanted to get that specific, or you chose.
Or you have a single family home agent and then you have a condo agent.
Or maybe you have something like a commercial broker or industrial broker, vacant land, that kind of thing. Maybe you have it for that. Just some dude up in Mendocino finding you, for it.
Yeah, I guess.
There you go. Anyway, they allow you to put the type of properties. So if you're buying a farm, you can click it off there. Location. We'll have all this. Can we put a PDF in the podcast now?
We can put it in the show notes.
There you go. We'll put this all in the show notes as an example contract.
Which I will say this about exclusivity and non-exclusive contracts. It's mostly just a fear tactic, right? Because it's not like if you have an exclusive contract with someone that you can't say, hey, look, I just don't want to work with you. What are they going to do? Force you to work with them? Like, that's just not real in the industry, right? Because agents are all about, building long-term relationships and not wanting to have one bad review destroy you, right? So it's just...
Can't the agent go after the next agent? Like if they've got an exclusive one and try to get a referral fee or a kickback? Kickbacks.
No, they would go after the buyer who signed the contract. That's who they have a contract. But it's like, the law that just, or the ruling that just passed from somewhere, or it was an agency, I forget who, but it basically said you can't stop anybody from working in their industry. This and that was eliminated. And you know what? Exclusive real estate contracts should be eliminated. Same thing.
So here's the twist that I would like to see in these contracts. I think this all boils down to the way that commissions shouldn't exist in the first place. Because the whole issue here is that you have agents that do work and then don't end up getting paid. That's just, I don't know, even if it's the shittiest agent in the entire universe, even if it's the worst employee, you still pay an employee even if they perform badly. You fire them, paid, right? So why in the real estate industry does it have to be this way? Doesn't make sense to me. So it's because that's also where the consumer can start taking advantage of agents, right? And it's really not fair for an agent to have an exclusive contract because they're working towards a goal of getting a home, and then all of a sudden, hey, actually, I want to break the contract. And, oh, well, too bad. Oh, well, you don't get paid for a lot of work that you've done. Right? That is part of the broken industry. And
what's the solution to that? Because even with the Arrivva's flat fee model, you only get paid if the house goes closed.
Correct. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Most agents run around with people to the houses to be their friends and waste their time doing that. Our people go to open houses, and if they see a house, we get someone else we pay to open the door. So we have a lot more time because we work We work smarter.
But the point still there exists, right? Because I mean, you can't say that there's not true. Then there's a lot of the times where we ourselves pay agents to go open houses.
Oh yeah.
And then these people might not buy anything or might go with someone else. There's still an expense there, right?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's just our model.
Well, no,
But for most agents, well, a lot of agents are going to end up signing up for these services like we just talked about, where, they show a house and get paid $50 kind of thing. They're going to go work for property management companies and do that sort of thing. That there's people who transition that way, stay in the industry, but there's some who are just going to leave. I mean, it's just, the system doesn't work their way anymore because it's all going to depend. I mean, I'd love to start a scoreboard of some kind of like, what do you charge? What is, this certain real estate office, some of them have minimum commissions still of 2.5%. I have talked to a couple of agents and brokerages where they're just going to stick to it. They'll sign the contract, but you got to get 2.5%. So somebody buying a $2 million house needs to pay their buyer broker $50,000. Okay. It's insane. They're not going to do it. People who are buying a $2 million house are smart enough to say, you're out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they find us, but don't pay the 2.5%. I don't care how much they say they're worth and their value and all that, because that's all they're doing. They're taking classes on showing your value. I get these emails all the time. All the time.
Company.
Oh, all these just coaches and seminars.
You've got the new contract in your hands right now, and this is all coming down in the next 17 days.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to put it in quad. We're going to play with it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to put it to our, we're not stealing anything.
Like you don't have, do you have to use that contract? You can have your own contract.
Oh, we can have our own. Yeah.
Okay.
And, there's things that should be highlighted and, but it's all pretty normal stuff. So,
I mean, I think that technically, like, we don't need to use that at all. I mean, we're not part of the settlement.
Okay.
No.
So
we have one in Texas. We have one in Washington State, and they're both pretty simple. Hey, you know what? I may just take one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I just change it for California, add some disclosures, and say, here we go. We have a simple process, simple agreement. So you do what you're supposed to do. We'll do what we're supposed to do. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
And
so what I'm hearing,
flat fee, do it closing. I'm sorry.
The aha thing that I just heard is that all these buyer broker contracts, it's not one uniform contract. You go to 5 different agents. If they're not realtors, you might see 5 different contracts. So it does make sense to kind of,
this is the one you will see the most. The California, the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement, non-exclusive unless exclusive is checked and initialed. So
nice.
There it is.
Look at that.
Page 1.
How many pages is it?
All right. 1. Oh, and in front of it is the disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship in such small ink you can't read it. The contract itself is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Then the buyer investigatory advisory, the broker compensation advisory, the possible representation of more than one buyer or seller disclosure and consent, the California Consumer Privacy Act advisory disclosure and notice, and then in the overflow.
Wow. And that's before you even start buying a house.
Yeah. Oh, and just again, you can go to an open house. You don't need to have a buyer broker. Do not sign anything. You don't have to sign anything. Anybody forces you to sign something, video, TikTok, report them.
Okay.
Seriously.
I thought last weekend we were talking about to tour open houses, you now have to be in a contract and you were going to do like a little buyer broker license or a little
Yeah,
$1,000.
yeah, and then they straightened it all out.
Okay, so
Everybody
that's
was saying. So yeah, you know, it'd be kind of fun to have one anyway.
Well,
just if the agent bothers you, oh, you have to sign this. Oh, I have my, open house card.
Mhm.
let the record show that I knew, and I said in the previous podcast that was not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been recorded. And now official. You were right.
Nobody listens to me. And, what's next on the? Is that all, Fred, on the contract?
I think it's just, sign when you're comfortable with somebody. Don't sign if you're not.
Well,
And read it.
And actually, here's something that I'll mention. So different MLSs have different structures of how they're going. When are they going to change their MLS rules and their platforms? We actually just received an email like 30 minutes ago for the Los Angeles MLS, where they said that they're actually making the changes August 13th. So originally I was going to wait. We were going to wait to list a property August 17th. But it looks like we can list it earlier. We're going to list August.
Yeah, 13th. I think the car forms that I just got are from they called it the July update. So basically, just start using the new stuff. I think it's what's going to happen. But let me add one thing. Up in Washington State and the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, they've decided that they're going to still allow for buyer broker compensation. So rebates galore down in the Bay in LA and San Diego and everywhere else we go in California. We don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. So you can't put it on the MLS, but is there going to be some super secret network that they all play with, or internally just giving it, who knows? But we're going to ask on every deal, and you should ask when you go to an open house, is there any buyer broker compensation being offered? You have the absolute right to ask that because it's your money.
From the seller.
So yeah, you get what I mean, Drew?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Puzzled look.
I was
Okay.
just puzzled because I was thinking about the last couple open houses I've been to, and it was just some agent that had nothing to do with the house. They were just trying.
Oh, well, that happens. They sit. Yeah, okay. Let's talk real quickly about that. When you go to an open house, it's almost rare that you're going to meet the listing agent because they all have teams of thousands of agents who want to work the opens because their goal, not to sell the house, it's to find buyers. So they're trained. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming by. Do you have an agent? You're going to hear that.
Mhm.
And, say you can lie. It just doesn't matter. Yeah, just lie. I have an agent. Even if you don't. Really, I'm telling you, it is okay to lie to these people. Do not sign anything. There is absolutely no reason. So you're going to ask them questions about the house, and they're going to either be honest to say, here's the answer. I don't know. Let me find out for you. Also, you don't give them your email address if you're going to hire a buyer broker, because the buyer broker will have the rapport with that listing agent or connect and get a rapport, which is what René does, and find out the information anyway. And this way, maybe we get it in writing. But if you just give them your email address, they will hound you to death. Oh, you have a buyer broker yet? Well, here, we put everything in writing. Gee. So more fun at open houses. We kind of redo what you have to do in an open house, just get the information part. So yeah, these agents, most of the listing agents, they don't do opens because they got these kids working for them. René and I, different story. We love working our opens. So this way we have the answers.
The whole idea about open houses is, if you have someone that you can really count on and they've been trained well, they should be able to host open houses.
Oh, totally.
The problem is that you have a lot of listing agents who just get random messages from people you've never heard of, who just saw that it's a new listing and they're maybe nearby. And you see agents saying like, hey, can I host your open house? And they don't care about the sellers. They don't care about taking care of the house. They just care about being able to find leads. And I could pull up screenshots of agents just saying like, oh no, sorry. I want to do the open houses because I want to get leads. Because sometimes when new agents that I've never heard of, Fred just tells them like, go away. But I like to tell them, like, hey, well, look, I actually might need help in helping a buyer open up a property, and we pay them by showing. Agents will rather not get paid at all just for the idea of finding a lead at an open house. But anyway, the point of this is that it's much better if the listing agent is actually at the open house, because they should know more about the property. They should be able to know how to discuss the house parameters with the buyers and not talk too much, which is the overall goal of open houses. Yeah.
And they kind of know where to lead people because they know the seller's situation. They're not going to tell you, oh, it's a super distressed sale and my clients will take anything and just write up anything. They don't care. They're not going to tell you that. And if they are, fire them. But they can kind of feel what you're asking and, hey, might that take long, or can we do it shorter? Or, and sometimes, another thing buyers ask is what's your seller want? What's their expectations? Highest price, best terms. That's all I say. Clean, fully underwritten pre-approval, cash, first sign, all the normal stuff. Bring us an offer we can live with. What else am I supposed to say?
Yeah. Let's I want to talk about market conditions. Let's talk about get a kind of finger on the pulse market conditions. I know in my neighborhood, my area, North San Diego, we've seen a lot of prices dropping lately. In the last
you were saying that last week or the week before.
Last 3-4 weeks. Now it's there's been a rash of, I think, four houses on Zillow, all in the neighborhood, all dropped 50,000-60,000.
Well, too much competition.
Mm-hmm.
It probably is in just that micro area.
Is it the summer doldrums, or just the summer
It's sort of, I think it's quiet, but it isn't. I mean, we're still busy.
I think
people
it's
are
also
still looking. But we still lost one yesterday. How many, René?
It was 18 offers. I mean, of course, it always just depends on how the property was listed. This was a property that was listed under 2 million, but estimates and the comparables said that it was a 2.8 property. So, of course, people that are looking in the $2 million range see the property that's to their liking. It's like, oh, I love it. Well, the problem is that it was always going to be a property that was out of their budget. So, I think it's more of a balanced market. I think you're not competing with 50 buyers. I think that's just the realities of, like, if it's a super beautiful house and you really love it and it checks every single one of your check boxes, it's probably going to check all the other buyers' boxes as well. So,
yeah, I think if I know about it more in my area or this North San Diego area, it's an older area.
Mm-hmm.
And they've all been, I could tell that because there was estate sales going on before. So it's all empty houses with kids that are selling their parents' home that probably just don't have a vested interest really, other than get the inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let me add this. Interest rates have dropped a lot. We could have locked someone today. It was like a 950 purchase, 650 mortgage, 30-day lock, 6 1/8 with a rebate of over $2,700. So basically we're getting to, almost 6% with a little bit of cost, but we're almost there. So
it's like a full 1.
Now it's going to bring more buyers. So, the inventory stays the same. The prices go up. It's very simple. But, in your area, maybe that got more buyers. Maybe it'll get a little more oomph. Somebody will want to do it. Who knows?
Just definitely, it's not California wide. It's really, you got to look at the different pockets and the different communities, and each one's really it has its own kind of.
Sure. They each have their own story,
That goes into context.
Area.
You got to understand the context of the neighborhood and the context of what the pricing is.
I know. Location, location, location. 3 most important things in real estate. People have been saying that for years, and it's still true. It's simple.
Let's see. So, René, what's top of mind for you as we're wrapping down this podcast?
So you mentioned right now how in your neighborhood there's estate sales, and that it's kids who don't really have they don't really care much about the houses. They just want to get rid of them. And people always wonder oh, well, why is my house not selling? Well, the answer is your house ready to move in? Right. We've had a steady inventory of listings where there's a lot of work to be done. And the problem is that we have a lot of first-time homebuyers. First-time homebuyers don't know that it's not that expensive to do X or to do Y. They don't know that termite actually isn't that bad, and that most of the time that the inspections might say $5,000 and the actual cost might only be $1,000, right? So if you want top dollar, what you have to do is have the property be move-in ready. Do a lot of the heavy lifting ahead of time. There's programs and services that actually pay for all the repairs and the remodel, and you only pay the companies at closing once you sell your house. So if you are looking to sell your house at the top dollar, you have to do the work. And I know that it's hard because at the same time, we have this idea and this knowledge that buyers want to make the house their own. They want to do the kitchen finishes, but at the same time, buyers are also going to want that discount for the house not being ready. So it needs to be the middle ground of okay, I'm going to do, if it's hardwood floors and it's really, really, really scratched, we're going to do the hardwood floors. Buyers are not going to ask for a super discount of $50K because the wood is a darker brown that they would really want in the beginning, if it was liking, right? If they want to refinish it later, it doesn't cost as much, but at least they get into the property and it's a really nice looking hardwood floor. So
that's a good point. That's a really good point. And especially in this neighborhood, I mean, when I moved in, it was a lot of flippers because the housing was my neighborhood was geometrically lower than the rest of the surrounding neighborhoods. It was great for flipping, but now the housing prices are on parity with Carlsbad and some of the coast. So there's not so much skin in the game to be able to flip these houses with the max, but these houses are having been lived in for 30, 40 years with minimal to no updating and then getting on the market for top dollar.
Yeah. And the thing is that people just see a sale price oh, that house sold for $2 million. And it's okay, well, did that house have was it a fully remodeled, or was it sold the same way that yours is being sold? And that's also the difference. So,
and that's why the AVMs that you see, the estimates of value on Redfin and Zillow and all that, it's a light version of value because they don't go in the house. They don't know what you paid to have for, I don't know, upgrades, carpeting or fancy wallpaper or high-end kitchen appliances. They have no idea. So they're just doing square footage-ish to square footage-ish in size and year built and blah, blah, blah. So they're very light. So use them, but don't use them. It's just, but don't use them for anything real. Don't set that as your sale price. Oh, well, Redfin says.
Wise advice.
We try. Yes. Oh, one story. Bananas. No, I do like bananas, people. I do like.
You got 4 right there, ready to go.
Well, hang on. Hey, no. It gets worse. Actually, I was on my phone ordering from one of these online services or bring you grocery. And I ordered 18 bananas. I mean, I eat them. I like them. Use them for smoothies, et cetera, et cetera. They brought me 18 pounds of bananas. It was like, whoa. So I have a lot of bananas now.
Okay. That's good.
I'm just eating banana everything. So anyway,
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do with them. They're not.
put them in the fridge. You know what? I put them in the fridge. They're fine.
Oh, I guess you can put them in the freezer too.
And freezer. No, you
Oh.
take them out of, you got to squeeze them out.
Yeah.
You can't leave them with the
The peel.
peels. Yeah.
Which, I will say though that orange peels are edible. I do remember in my college days, whenever there was a hazing involved, I've heard stories of one of the things you had to do is eat the peel. So,
Yeah. It's
It
because
tastes so, it's sour, that's all.
I use them all the
syrup
time
on
in
it.
cooking. The zest of the orange where you grate
Oh,
it.
sure.
Oh yeah. That's a good Negroni.
Mm-hmm. Well,
There you go.
now I got to go get a Negroni. So we better end this episode.
Yep.
Now I'm
The
thirsty.
Arrivva cooking show. Yeah.
Cooking and cocktail mixing.
But actually, Lynn probably know what a Negroni is.
But I know generically what it is. I couldn't tell you what's involved in making it.
Renee, what's your perfect Negroni?
So there's actually a really good restaurant up here in San Francisco called Gary Denko,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
instead of Campari, they actually use the way it was done in Italy. It's Gran Classico, so
Oh.
it's a different type of mix.
Mhm.
I think that's the way to do it. I mean, so
Grand Classico. So it's like an Amaro.
yeah.
Well, now I'm definitely thirsty. So this has been the latest episode of We Fixed Real Estate. I'm off to go grab a Negroni.
Talk to you later.
Happy banana.